So, Rick Grimes' final episode has aired this past week, and I bet you all are wondering what my thoughts are. Well, get ready, kids, because I think you know what's coming. If I were to put my thoughts about this episode into one word, it would be, you guessed it, disappointed. In fact, this episode far exceeded my level of disappointment over this current season so far, but not for the reasons that you might expect. For the first time in the past 2 years, I was actually enjoying an episode. I was enjoying it so much that I was ready to sing its praises and proclaim that it had rekindled my love for this show. As I was watching the first half of this episode, I kept thinking to myself, This is what made me fall madly in love with The Walking Dead. The character interactions felt incredibly natural, and even without the callbacks to the first and second seasons, this episode harkened back to the good old days of this show. I was immensely enthralled by the scene between Maggie and Michonne. Their dialogue felt incredibly organic and not convoluted at all. Their conflict was realistic, and even if you disagreed with either of the characters, you could sympathize and understand both sides of the argument. Words cannot describe how much I miss moral conflicts that make sense for the show and the characters. Also, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan deserves all of the praise for his portrayal of Negan in this episode. For the first time, I felt sorry for this character. In fact, I legit got a bit misty-eyed when he broke down in front of Maggie. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an incredibly talented actor, and it was super refreshing to see him finally be able to really show off his range. Rick's hallucinations might have been a bit much, but overall, I did enjoy these scenes. It was nice getting to see both Shane and Herschel, two characters that I deeply miss on this show. Even though it was a dream sequence, it was pleasant seeing Shane and Rick burying the hatchet. And the hallucination of Herschel, oh boy, that turned on the waterworks. Scott Wilson was absolutely phenomenal in this scene. It was a fitting closure for his character and a fitting tribute to a now sadly departed actor who was dearly beloved by the fan base. I did think that the dream sequence involving Sasha was a bit overwrought, but it was nice getting to see Sonequa Martin Green reprise her role as the character, and despite some overly contrived plot conveniences, the box of dynamite that magically appeared on the bridge, the execution of Rick's exit was just right. The way they set up his sacrifice paired with the reactions of the group, especially Michonne and Daryl, was the perfect send-off for such an iconic character. But hold on, that's not the end of it, is it? Is it, AMC? Oh no. In the infamous words of the late great Billy Mays.
But I'm not done yet!
After a ridiculously long commercial break, we cut to Jadis with her walkie-talkie. And then she so happens to discover Rick washed up to shore. And just like that, she calls forth the helicopter that she has been in contact with since episode 3. Now wait. Wait just one goddamn minute. After all that Rick has gone through, from getting impaled on a piece of rebar to the heavily feverish dreams, to blowing up the bridge, leaving those closest to him to think he's dead, including us, this is how they choose to end his story? Him surviving in the end?
What? 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 What?
Why would they manipulate the audience like that? Why would you set up something like that with absolutely no payoff? Oh, but guess what, kids? That ain't the half of it. To add insult to injury, the episode ends with a time jump. A fucking 6-year time jump. So, not only do they write off Rick in the most ludicrous way possible, we don't even get to see the characters go through the immediate aftermath of his loss and get closure in the process.
What? What the fuck?
Oh wait, what loss? He's still alive and none of the characters know he's still alive. God, this hurts my brain so hard I'm amazed I can even muster a coherent thought. How does Rick not make it back to his family in 6 years? This man ripped a guy's throat out with his own teeth and took down a herd of walkers for his own son. And I don't want to hear anyone saying, well, he's probably in prison, so there's no way he'd be able to escape. Bitch, please. After being corralled into a train car, this crazy son of a bitch tore his way through a pack of armed and ferocious cannibals. You can't sit there and tell me that he would have not fought tooth and nail to get home, or that it would have taken him 6 years to get there. It is going to take a hell of a lot more effort to convince me that there is anyone or anything that can keep Rick motherfucking Grimes down for that long. Yes, I am aware that AMC is planning a trilogy of movies following Rick's story post-show, hence his extremely jarring exit. But I am going to be fully blunt here. These movies are nothing more than a cheap marketing gimmick for AMC. Look, I understand the network wants to expand on the franchise. I am an unabashed fan of The Walking Dead, therefore I am willing to give any of their future ideas a shot. but they could have chosen to focus on these other ideas, on expanding the universe instead. Rick should have gotten a proper send-off with a memorable death. He should not be used as a marketing tool to save face for their brand. Rick Grimes deserves better than that, and quite frankly, so did his son. But I've already been over that bit. All I can say is, man, the writers that will be on board for this film trilogy are going to have a lot of explaining to do. So with episode 6 set to air real soon, it will be the start of a new era for The Walking Dead. And quite frankly, I do not have faith that this show will be able to sustain itself much longer. As much as I love some of the other characters, I just don't think most of them have the necessary weight to carry this show, not even fan favorites like Daryl. The Walking Dead has always been about Rick and Carl, the central theme being Rick looking after his son and grooming him to adapt and thrive in this hellish world. We have followed their journey from the very beginning. Without them, the overall story feels completely empty. If Carl were still alive, the post-Rick transition would not be nearly as overwhelming, and I think it's safe to say that I am not the only one who holds these pessimistic sentiments. I have a feeling that it is only going to get much worse for the show in terms of viewership. I highly doubt that the ratings will get any better. In fact, I am expecting that they will dip much lower than AMC anticipated. Of course, the question is, will I continue to watch this show and still do reviews? The only answer I can really provide is, I don't know. I have felt completely disenfranchised by the writing on this show these past 2 years, and even with the slight improvement of the current season, I am still incredibly jaded and I am having difficulty seeing more of the good than the bad. The abysmal ending to Rick's final episode was another nasty hit to my enthusiasm for the show. Yet at the same time, Eugene Porter is my favorite character, and they still haven't killed him off. So it is hard for me to even think about severing my viewership ties. Although I've heard some unpleasant rumors about his plot arc from the comic, which was brilliant, being taken away and given to someone else. So I have no earthly idea what the writer's room has planned for him. We can only wait and see. If you would like to add to the conversation, please feel free to share a comment. And thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Lindsay, signing off.